Hey, how you doing, guys? Hope you're having a lovely day. We've got some nice weather now in the UK, so I figured that I might just sort of take the M2 out for a drive and enjoy it. You know, I've had this for about 6 months now, and it's just basically been raining and windy and cold the whole time, so I didn't really get to enjoy the car to its full potential. And now that the weather's getting better, I'm gonna make use of it and you know, get to enjoy the car. So, like I said, it's been about 6 months now of owning this car, so I kind of wanted to talk about what the ownership experience has been so far and what the difference is like between this and the 240. Just to start off, I'd like to talk about the running costs. It's honestly not as bad as I expected coming from the 240. The fuel consumption is a bit worse, and so is the insurance. Obviously, it costs more to insure this than it does a 240i, but the fuel consumption, I would say you're probably getting about 5 mpg less on just like combined, you know, having fun and just daily driving the car normally. That's, like I said, about 5 mpg difference. It's not bad, it's not great, don't get me wrong, but it's not bad either for what you get compared to the 240. Yeah, it's quite alright, to be fair. It does drink and it does cost a little bit to to fill it up, but not as much as I expected, like I said. And besides that, the running costs have not been that bad, to be fair. When it comes to services, I'd say they're about the same, to be fair. This, it cost me less than the 240 to do a major service on, because this is not being done on a main dealer. It was done on a BMW specialist. I've had a bad experience with main dealers in the past, so I've stopped going there with my cars. So it was about £200 less than the 240. But like I said, that was at a main dealer, so realistically they would probably cost about the same to service. Brakes will probably be about the same, because this doesn't have the big brake kit. It actually has the same brake kit that I had on the 240 at the moment. I think the discs are slightly bigger than the 240. I think those were 340 on the front and 340 mil on the front, and I don't remember what the back was, but I think this has got 340 on the back and then 370 on the front, so they're slightly bigger than the ones on the 240. But again, it's not going to be a substantially, higher cost to swap. So, and again, the car's got barely any miles, so I'm not worried about doing brakes anytime soon. But yeah, honestly, in this last 6 months of owning this, it's not been a lot more expensive to maintain and run than the 240. The one other expense this had was obviously the incident with the deer that caused this to be a bit more expensive to maintain than the 240i, but you can't fault the car for that. You know, that was an accident, something came out in the road and it damaged some trim on the car. That could happen to any car. So again, to be fair, the plastic trim that needed to be replaced was not even that expensive, so I can't complain about that, to be fair. But yeah, driving it, different story, right? So the running costs about the same, maybe a bit more on fuel and insurance, but it definitely makes up for the performance of the car and just, driving and enjoying the car. The thing is that the 240, and I don't want to take anything away from it, especially with the B58 in it, is an amazing car. It drives amazingly. It's got plenty of performance for what it is, but you can tell, driving an M car, you can tell that is not an M car. The car just has so much performance compared to the 240i that it just keeps giving. You're pushing the car and you think you're at the limit, where the 240 would have been at its limit, but this just can keep going so much more. And it's not just that. The 240i at the end of the day is a 2 Series with a 3-liter single turbo, which gives it a bit of a sporty feel. But when it comes to the way that the car handles and the rawness of the car, this just feels on another level. It's rough around the edge, it's raw, it feels on edge, right? When you're pushing it, you can feel that LSD in the back doing its thing. You don't get that with the 240i. It's a great car, it's fun to push, it's fun to daily drive, but this is just another level when it comes to pure driving enjoyment. And I haven't tracked this yet. I can't wait to take it to the track, and I know it's going to feel amazing, and I just can't wait to experience that. But you can tell that this was made to be enjoyed on a different level compared to 240i. And to be fair, the fact that it is more daily drivable and it is a daily car adds to the 240, and it is a massive plus to it. I would say if you're looking for a daily car, like you just want a 2 Series that's sporty as a daily, and you already have like a nice weekend car, whatever that may be, a Porsche or something else, this is not really the car I would recommend. I would definitely say you should go for the 240i, because it's just so much easier to live with. The adaptive suspension helps with the soaking up the road and the driving pleasure of the car. You can do longer drives in it without your back's starting to hurt if you're slightly older or anything like that, you know, you're not going to get tired driving the car, is what I'm trying to say. Whereas with the M2, especially the Competition, because it's got the, you know, it's got the fixed suspension, it is a fairly aggressive suspension setup, it does take its toll on you eventually. So that is a plus to the 240 if you're looking to daily drive it. And also the second thing I want to get to when it comes to, honestly, benefits of the 240 compared to the M2, the M2 has a DCT gearbox, right? It's a 7-speed DCT, whereas the 240i has the ZF8 gearbox. The ZF8 gearbox is an amazing gearbox, and if you want a daily driving gearbox, that is definitely the way forward. The DCT is rough around the edges, right? It's clunky. You know, it doesn't engage gears when you're just rolling. Like, it doesn't, you know, if you take your foot off the brake, it doesn't start engaging gears and pushing you forward. It's clunky, right? It isn't as smooth as the ZF8. It's got a lot of performance to it, and when you're pushing the car, the gear changes are instant, right? And the downshifts, the upshifts, everything is just so much better than the ZF8. But the ZF8 does things good enough and is also comfortable. So to be fair, as a daily gearbox, it is much better than the DCT. But again, to come to why I would still choose the M2 as an overall car compared to the 240i, DCT adds to the experience. I drove the new M2, not just that, you know, I had an M3 Touring that I got to experience, and also an M4 before that, the GAT2 M4. All these new cars, all these new M cars with the S58, they've all got ZF8 gearboxes, and it really, don't get me wrong, again, great cars, great performance, but it really does take away from that like raw, rough around the edges experience that I want from an M car. So personally, I would definitely always go for the DCT compared to the ZF8. But that being said, like I said, it's still, you know, a great car. It's great to enjoy, and you get better MPG. So, you know, the 240 might be the one for you, especially, like I said, if you're looking for a daily driving car. But at the end of the day, the M2 is an M2, and I've not regretted my decision of changing from the 240i to the M2 Competition yet. I'm enjoying the car. It is amazing. You know, the way the LSD performs, I just don't get why they didn't put an LSD in the 240i's. I know you can fit one aftermarket. You can get it through the, you know, through the M Performance catalog for that car, but it should have just been there from the start. Honestly, it's a must in those cars. You know, I get it if you're somebody that's slightly more inexperienced, the LSD might be a bit more sketchy, especially in the rain and stuff like that. But the way it helps deliver the power when you're pushing the car is on another level. It looks like the roads are opening up a little bit ahead, so I will let you just enjoy the reason that made me change from the 240i to the M2. So you just downshifted twice, and it's just on the power straight away. The way these gears change is just unbelievable, and the way this car handles around corners is just on another level compared to the 240. The biggest problem with it is you catch up to traffic very quickly. So, you know, you can only enjoy it for so much during the day, but it's just the way that gearbox pulls, man. It's unbelievable. The power the engine delivers, the way the twin turbo system works. The B58 with a single twin scroll is great, and it doesn't really have a lot of turbo lag, but the way the twin turbo setup on the S55 pulls compared with the DCT is just so much better. It really feels amazing. And yeah, that is really the main reason. When I drove the car, even though it was at the beginning of winter and the weather wasn't great, I could still feel these things and the way the car was performing, and it just made me realize I have to have it. Compared to the 240, it just has so much more performance to give. And yeah, that was really the main reason why I ended up making the jump. The B58 and the 240, they're a great platform, amazing to drive. You know, you do some mods to them and they'll pull through. They might even gap this in a straight line, but I don't care about a straight line. I like to drive on B roads. I like to enjoy the way the car handles, and the B58 and the 240 handle well, but this do it better. So I think that will be it for today, guys. I just want to tell you what the ownership experience has been like for the past 6 months, and to tell you that if you are looking at getting one of these cars, it's definitely worth it. At least if you haven't done it yet, go drive it and see if you like the way it handles, because that was what sold it for me. I was one of these guys that always thought, you know, it's 10 grand more than my 240i, it's 15 grand more than my 240i at some point. It's not worth the extra money for the performance you get out of it. I'm here now to tell you it's worth every single penny compared to the 240i. It is amazing, right? It is an amazing experience. It is an amazing thing to drive. And if you're thinking about it, at least go and drive it, and I guarantee you will enjoy it. And maybe you won't, and then you'll realize it's not the car for you, which is fine as well, right? There's so many different cars for so many different people, so go out there and find what you enjoy. But I think what I'm gonna do is enjoy the rest of these roads today. Well, at least if the traffic clears up, I would love to be able to enjoy them. But yeah, that will be it for today, guys. I've got some more content lined up, so stay tuned.